Hey guys, Gil here. As always, I want to drop a little knowledge on you, so shut up and fucking listen. I want to talk to you about one of our sponsors and good friend of the podcast, Yellow Jacket. Guys, Yellow Jacket has been one of the biggest names in the HVAC industry since fucking forever. Guys, I know everybody has their own thoughts on digital manifolds or just manifolds in general, and that's fine. We'll get into that in a second. But no matter what manifold you have, you should have Yellow Jacket hoses hooked up to it. End of discussion. You hear that? I'm putting the fucking gavel down. End of discussion. Guys, they are the quality-wise, I think they are the best hoses in the business. The rebuild kits, if something's to go wrong, they're available. I mean, to me, every supply house I go into, their little rebuild kits are right there. And I can't imagine it's different across the country. The other thing is, speaking about digital manifolds, you guys have got to check out the ones that they have, that just came out. I know everybody's talking about them on different podcasts and different YouTubers, but the P51 Titan series, you have the 860 and the 870. The 860 is a little bit more affordable, a great manifold. It's a monochrome display, but it does all the superheat, subcool, all that stuff that you need to be able to do your job right. The temperature clamps at a good affordable price. Hey, if you want to step up a little bit more, spend a little bit more money, then you can get the P51 870. They're the ones that I have. Those have the 4.3 LCD touchscreen display. Thing is badass. It does everything you can imagine. Not to mention, this thing's come with hoses, and it gives you a bag to carry them. I was looking the other day, and I was like, man, this bag looks familiar. I start to look at it. Guys, it's the fucking Field Piece tool bag. I know a lot of guys weren't real fond of it, but how much did you pay for it? This one is coming with it for nothing. And it's pretty much the guts of it, besides the little foam thing inside. So check it out, guys. You gotta check it out. The other thing that we've been talking about, me and Kelly both, is if you're in the market for a leak detector, you have to check out the Yellow Jacket UV leak detector. Guys, when it comes to 410A, this thing is fucking badass. I promise you, if you get it, you will not be sorry. I promise you. If you ask anybody who has it, they're all going to tell you they love it. But I'll fucking end it with that. Guys, go check them out over www.yellowjacket.com. And remember, 66 years of expertise built into every tool. Check it out.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the USA, and I don't fucking knee.
If you're trying to take your HVAC game to the next level, then buckle your seatbelt, crank up the volume, and try not to be offended, because you're listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast with Gil Kelley and Kelly McKay. Now, here's Gil and Kelley.
Oh, shit. Welcome back, motherfuckers, to another episode of the HVAC Uncensored podcast. The one and fucking only. As always, it is me, yours truly, Gil motherfucking Kelley. Happy to fucking be here. And as always, sitting across the man, the myth, the fucking legend, Mr. Kelly McKay. What is up, brother?
Doing good, man. Glad to be here. Super pumped. Which episode are we on? Is it 12 or 13 is what I was thinking. It was 13 for some reason, but this is 12.
Yeah.
Okay. So how's it been going? I spent all day in class, which some of you guys saw my post today. Got to talk with a tech that I met a little over a year ago. And then, it's kind of nice to see some of the guys, from my competitors. We're all, just like Gil and I've always said, we all face the same challenges every day, and I think it should be a brotherhood. I don't take this. Sure, I am competitive. We're all competitive. I have some competitors that I can't stand, just like some of you guys probably have some competitors that you can't stand. But none of those competitors were at the class today, and it was a good day. Met a guy that is a tech for a local company, and I think he's actually going to come on the podcast possibly next week. So It was just cool. It was a good class. The teacher was good. He kept it lighthearted and funny. So I've been to worse, put it that way. We've all been to those bad classes.
That's awesome, man. I love class days, man. I love to be in class and learn different things. We're actually getting ready to start those up. The other thing real fast that Kelly just said is, guys, I know that people always have guests on podcast and people think that it has to be like some expert in the field, and that's not the case. Guys, we are willing to, we want to interview you guys, the listeners, the guys that are just normal everyday fucking HVAC techs doing their job. So if any of you guys out there want to be on the podcast, dude, you're more than welcome to. Email me and Kelly, HVACuncensored@gmail.com, and just shoot us an email and say, hey, man, I'd love to be on the podcast, and we'll fucking make it happen. So that invite is to all of our listeners. I'm only going to say that on the podcast because obviously I want to have the people who listen to the podcast. So
yes,
hit us up. I mean, be more than happy.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys are the ones who make it happen. So we'd be honored to have you on here, and we'll shoot the shit, and we'll also, pick your brain, and you can pick ours.
Yeah, I might even pick my nose, my ass. You never know. We'll just be picking around. You know what I mean?
I can about guarantee you'll be picking your ass, but okay.
God, there's no video.
Right.
But yeah, man, it's been good here. I guess, should I talk about what I talked to you about beforehand? Do you think that would be a good topic because other guys might have the same situation?
Yeah, I think so. It's relevant.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right, guys. Okay, so pretty much, we have an account. It was an account that I had when I went off on my own, and I brought them here, and it's like a little lower class, like apartment complex where it's like it's like one looking little house where it's like one on the bottom, one on the top. So it's A and B. They're not great, but it's a good little bit of money. Some of these are dirty, and some of the guys going over there, like there's roaches. One time there was, you guys probably heard me on a previous podcast saying there was bed bugs and the guys had to leave. And there is some shit you got to deal with, but they're a paying customer. They pay money like everybody else, and they need to get what they're paying for. And we're having a couple issues. One is the guys are going over there and they're not giving the effort they should. They think, oh, it's some shitty place and we'll just cut corners. When that's not the case, guys. I mean, not to give you some lecture, but no matter what the house looks like, you do every job as if it's in your house or it's $1 million house. Play down to your competition, if that kind of makes sense. You install every job like it looks like a fucking pretty penny, no matter where it's being installed. That's just end of discussion. But the other thing is they have a new director running the place, and I guess he was giving me shit. My owner went over and talked to him too, that I mean, I won't say that. I don't really care, but I won't say the price. But we gave him a price, and he was paying like retail. He's just, digging in my ass saying, I need to do it cheaper. I got a couple of quotes, and this one guy's $2,000 cheaper, and this other guy was like $500 cheaper than you. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, that's cool to get a deal because he's given us 6 changeouts this month already. I mean, it's only the 19th, so he has given us work. So I do think there's room for us to, give him a little cut. But some of the things, him busting my balls, it was just like, he's like, oh, well, I can buy the equipment from Goodman. And we put in Goodman stuff there because that's what they want, just so nobody makes a comment about that. That's what they started putting in. They want them all the same. So if their maintenance guys have to do something, they only got to keep one part, or all those dumbasses know one furnace. So he's like, oh, I can buy this stuff from Goodman for like $2,000 and you're charging me such and such. I was like, okay, well, why don't you? And he's like, well, then, I got to find somebody to put it in. I'm like, well, exactly. You don't buy it yourself for a reason. I said, let's just be honest. You're not going to pay what I pay. That's just that simple. And I just told him, I said, $2,000 cheaper is not going to happen, man. I said, you want those guys $2,000 cheaper, that's fine. But, you've had a couple quarrels about our installs, which do need to be corrected. But those guys $2,000 cheaper, you're going to get what you pay for. I guarantee you're going to be calling us to come out here and fix their fuck up because it's going to look like shit. Not to mention, I was telling Kelly, we've done all kind of extra stuff. that we never even raised the price. Like redoing the top of the plenum because they were so fucked up. They have a bunch of like flexes coming off. And now our lead installer that goes out just makes a new box rather than trying to fuck with the old one. So I can keep going on, but pretty much me and Kelly were talking and he's like, well, fuck, I'm not the only one. It's pretty much when you get these customers that are beating you up, but it's just like what the fuck do you want from me? God damn.
Yeah. So I'll tell a little story. You know, it's nice to hear these types of situations is happening with other people because it just makes you feel like you're not alone. And naturally, we just don't want to be alone, right? So, but I had a property management company that we've taken care of for literally 10 years. And we had a couple of disagreements, minor disagreements, and it was always over price. Is you're charging me too much, Well, I may get an email that says, hey, what's the deal with this invoice? You charged me $400 just to come out and do, X and X. Well, then I look and I go in and I find, well, that was a holiday. Well, that's why we charge so much. Or it was at 9:00 at night on a Friday night. So the bottom line is they just weren't appreciating our services. When they call, we jump on it and we always answer the phone, just like what Gil was just saying. I didn't want to interrupt you, but you were like, we've had a couple of little minor deals happen with installs that maybe you would have done a different way. And the guy calls you, brings it to your attention, and guess what? You're going to come back and fix that for him. That's the difference in price. That's why he pays a little bit more, because you're going to answer the phone and you're going to come over and fix it for him free of charge because you provide a good service. But I'm not saying that we don't have to give these types of companies a break because of the volume that they give us. But I hate to ramble on, but I'll just tell you a really quick story, then I'll shut up for a minute. But
you're good.
We one of the reasons, and probably the primary reason that we're not doing business with this company that we've done business with for so long, is because we went out to change. It was a Lennox air handler, and everything was running. Like the blower wheel was intact, the blower motor was fine. It was freezing up. We added refrigerant, like 3 pounds, did a leak search, found the evaporator coil, failed. We gave that information to them, and then it was a waiting game. They had to approve it before we were going to move forward. We had the place cooling for the meantime. Well, then like 2 weeks later, they call back and say, okay, we're ready to do it. Okay, so we order the evaporator coil. We go out, change the evaporator coil, then we go turn the system on. We find that the blower wheel had fallen apart. So we get the blower wheel. The blower motor had a 3/4 inch shaft, and so the wheel had a 3/4 inch hub. And so we order the wheel. Yeah, we order the wheel, get the wheel back to the shop, and find that it's got a 1/2 inch hub. And we're like, what the fuck? This is a 3/4 inch blower motor, and it's got welded legs on it, for the mounting brackets. And so we're like, dude, you guys sent us the wrong, you sent us the wrong blower wheel. Well, come to find out, they had changed their part numbers, and now you had to in order to get a new blower wheel. Like I couldn't find a blower wheel that had a 3/4 inch hub. I had to go to a 1/2 inch hub, which was the right part that they gave me because Lennox changed their parts. And now I have to change the blower motor at the same time. And that blower motor was, 208, 230 volt blower motor, but it was 3/4 horse or one horse. I think it was 1 horse.
Fuck.
Yeah. That motor was like $400 or some shit. So
what size unit was it?
It was a 5-ton. I'm pretty sure it was a 5-ton.
I hope so. For a fucking 1 horsepower motor, that motherfucker's gonna start fucking hurricanes inside the house.
Yeah, or the blower wheel's gonna fall apart.
True.
So there's like a whole misunderstanding because when they called back 2 weeks later, we thought, okay, we didn't know the blower wheel had fallen apart because it was fine when we left it. When we left it, it was cooling. So when we go back out, we change the evaporator coil, go to turn the system on, find that the fucking blower wheel is falling apart. So we go pick up the blower wheel and we call them and say, hey, here's the situation. We got to get a blower wheel. Here's how much it's going to be. Well, then what do you know? The part numbers have changed and now we need a 1/2-inch blower wheel, and which is going to require a new blower motor. And that motor is extremely expensive. So we call them again. And it's like, we're sorry, but this is what it is. And the owner wound up calling the office, and I got on the phone with him, and they felt like we were doing something shady or something. It was clear. And they just were flat out saying he shouldn't have to pay anything. I mean, the property management company's telling me the homeowner who they manage the property for shouldn't have to pay anything. And I wound up we went back and forth, and I got on the phone with the owner, and I wound up just giving it to him. I'm like, fine. That was like the last email message. I said, fine, I'm going to change it out, and I'm not going to charge you anything. And I sent that, and they knew that I wasn't happy about it because I had said my piece, and we did nothing wrong other than they claimed that we never called them to let them know about the blower wheel, which is not true. It's a bunch of he said, she said stuff, but bottom line, we did the right thing, and you still can get bit in the ass when you do the right thing. And when it all comes down to price, he wound up paying for the evaporator coil, and that was it. And I just gave him the other two things just to be done with it, because it's not worth going over to court over even $1,000. Not worth going to court over. It cost us every bit of $1,000 in labor and parts and to get the job done, but this shit happens.
Yeah, that blows, dude. That sucks. Matter of fact, I remember me and you talking about that. So I'm not sure when it happened, but
yeah,
I remember me and you talking about that, and that fucking sucks. And Kelly's right, man. You get in these situations sometimes where you got to you're the punching bag for the customer, and even though you've done nothing wrong, you got to sit there and take it. You got to bite the bullet, so to speak. And it sucks because we have to do it sometimes. It's kind of just a part of our job, and you hope that it's few and far in between, but sometimes it is what it is. So
but sometimes, the people like you're dealing with, the apartment complexes, I mean, it's kind of the same deal. It's managed by a corporate company or whatever, and they're telling the guy who is the director or whoever he is that runs the apartment complex, they're saying, we need better price. We need a better price. And that shit happens to us all the time.
Yeah, but you know what? To be honest, in my mind, I know how those director positions work, that they get bonuses on how much savings and money they can do. So I think that guy, he thought that I was going to be an idiot when he was talking to me. Like, he was going to be like, oh, I found one $2,000 cheaper. And I was going to be like, oh, well, I don't want to lose your business. I'll bring my price down, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I've been around for a little bit. I'm not a fucking rookie. You know what I mean? I'm not fucking that gullible. And, the guy said how when he got prices, and some of them were lower than me, but they were close. So all of them except for one was $2,000 cheaper.
Right.
Okay, so that should tell you something. Everybody else is in the same ballpark. And like I said, we do have room that we can bring it down a little bit. But like Kelly said, I mean, yeah, I understand that some jobs you're gonna make money off of quantity, not necessarily quality, but you still got to price your jobs to make money no matter who the fuck it is. I'm not gonna, especially like I said, all the extra stuff that we're doing. So I think it's all worked out. I think, my owner went over there today. I was busy doing things, and I think he hashed it out and worked it out with them. I haven't talked to him. I didn't talk to him again today, so I don't know. But we are going to have a meeting, I'm pretty sure, with our guys about, and that's a good piece of advice to all you guys out there, installers or whatnot. No matter where you work, and if you're working in a house that's filthy, it doesn't matter. Those people are still paying you to perform a service, and you need to perform that service correctly like you would anywhere else. I like to use that analogy. Don't play down to your competition. Don't play down to your surroundings. It doesn't matter. They're paying the same price as the next person would. And to be honest, sometimes they're paying more, because sometimes if you have those houses that are hard to get around and it's going to be harder to work, you add a couple dollars in for that inconvenience. Sure. So if anything else, you need to make sure you do it properly. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, and we did talk about that on another podcast. I just don't think I went into detail about what happened on the repairs. We were just talking about dealing with difficult customers. I think you had something go down that week as well. I can't remember what it was, but if we did completely repeat it, I apologize, everybody. It's hard to remember from week to week, especially when we're doing, when we're producing a podcast every week. But that's the skinny on exactly what happened to that particular call.
Yeah, no, you're good, man. I didn't say it for that reason.
Yeah.
I just remember me and you talking about it. No, man, that story definitely fit into what we were talking about. So I'm glad you brought it up. But all right, guys, that was a pretty big intro. But definitely a very, very good topic. A few things before we start getting into the meat and potatoes. One, guys, real fast, we have an affiliation now with Field Pulse. Guys, this is going to be a program that some of you guys that you want to go, you're using tablets, you're trying to find a program that you want to use for, billing and different things like that, you're invoicing. Guys, check out Field Pulse. Go, they have a free trial. Go check out their free trial. Play around with it. See if you like it. If you do, then, you can email them and they'll be in contact with you. But it's definitely something to check out. I have been digging around on it. Haven't got to play with it too much, but go check it out and let us know what you think. That's going to be Field Pulse, and I'm pretty sure it's just www.fieldpulse.com. So go ahead and check them out.
Is it time?
Trying to think of what else.
I think it's time to go make money.
I think it's time to go make money too. So let's move it on.
Now, here's Go Make Money with Kelly McKay.
Man, why is my intro so it's aggressive? I think it's pretty aggressive, but that's okay.
Feisty.
It makes me want to headbang, and I'm not a headbanger even. So, but anyhow, so I want to talk about optimization. Now, what is optimization? It is to make the most of a situation or a resource. So I labeled and kind of, we'll talk about 10 different ways you can optimize things within the company. And some of these will relate to the service technicians out there, service experts that listen. And we've kind of hit on that in previous podcasts. But number one, running calls. You and the service experts and installers, you can help your dispatcher, help your management team with some of this stuff. So let's say that you have a little town, or you're going out in the country and you got to travel 15 miles to go do a service call that just happened to come up. So if you're going to travel that far and you're like, hey, I know Mrs. Smith lives out there. Let's call Mrs. Smith and see if we can't go ahead and do her maintenance. If the timing hits out right, let's go see if we can schedule Mrs. Smith the same day around the same time to do her seasonal maintenance. That's one way you can truly optimize. That saves you, the technician, a bunch of time. It saves a bunch of gas, and the bottom line is time is money. Number two, calls that come in. Do you really need more leads? Do you know how many calls you're getting a month? This is something that was an eye-opener for me, and I've started tracking how many calls we're getting. All the calls are recorded, so now when you call, it's like, this phone call may be recorded for quality assurance. Anytime you call a business and you hear that, it's because that phone call is being recorded, and that's a way for the company to be able to track. For one, manage who's answering the phone, make sure that they're doing a good job, and making sure that the customer's happy, but also making sure that we're booking the calls. Because it could be that you have plenty of calls coming in, but you're not booking them. So there may be a chance for some coaching in that area to help out whoever answers your phone, on what to say and how to say it to get somebody to actually book the call. Those calls that are coming in, and when the tech is running those calls, are you converting that into actual service work instead of just a diagnostic fee, which we've talked, a bunch on that. So I won't go into that, but Number 3, optimization is banking. So banking in a couple of different ways. You can optimize for easy use of the bank. For instance, like if you're doing business with one particular banker, which is my case, I have a line of credit with him. My business loans are through him, but yet I'm using a different bank for my checking account for the business. Well, it makes sense for me to change my account over to him, because if I need to draw my line of credit, it's a phone call and he can just dump money into my account like with the push of a button. So that's something we're working on, is switching over, because it's going to make us more efficient. Paychecks. How much time is being wasted for your team to run to the bank during work hours to on payday to cash their paychecks. So maybe either develop a process around that or try a direct deposit, something like that. Number 4, optimize space in your work truck or your vehicle. This is always going to make for smoother calls, faster calls. You might be able to put more stock on there if it's all organized. You're going to get less frustrated because you can locate what you need. Number 5, if you've got a big building that's not being used at night, why not rent out the space for events or meetings? Optimize that resource. If you've got some resources that you can make some extra money on the side with, do it. Number 6, training. If you have purchased training or coaching, for instance, anybody who's purchased my courses, make time to use that resource. It may have the answer that you're looking for that can completely turn things around or make you think of something a different way or put money directly in your pocket because something you implemented in your company. Number 7, our natural inclination as a business owner, when anytime we add something new to the company, whether it be dispatching software like Field Pulse or new way to market, or we decide we're going to send newsletters out, well, we always assume that role. Like we automatically take that position when it's probably not the best use of your time. So don't be afraid to delegate that stuff. That's a way you have resources within your company, which is the people you work with, just like you're a resource for them. So use it. Optimize the space you have. Maybe get a different shelving system. If you've got a small shop right now and you can't upgrade yet, well, get some shelving to optimize it so you can store a lot more things in your shop and be prepared to take on bigger and better jobs. Number 9, optimize service calls. You need a good sales process. And be sure to get reviews. So think of that service call, all the little aspects of a service call, which we've talked extensively about that, but that's about making the most of what you got. And number 10 is minimizing waste. Warranty parts return process I got written here. That happens a lot where warranty parts get thrown away. If you're not tracking that stuff, or you don't have somebody who takes ownership in making sure that warranty parts get returned, chances are you are losing money because you're throwing some stuff is not making it back to the supply house. Ensure that your stock isn't being thrown away as well. A lot of times, I don't know if you've ever had this, Gil, but when the guys have the evaporator coil box maybe in a basement, they'll use that for their trash, and they might, when it's time to clean everything up at the end of the job, if they installed a humidifier or something, they may throw a couple of 6-inch 90s in there or a transformer or whatever, something that's still absolutely good. And if that trash doesn't get gone through before it actually makes it to the dumpster, sometimes you're throwing shit away that you shouldn't be. And that's happened a lot with us.
I was actually just thinking about that.
That's happened a lot with us. So, but we put a cap on it. We just kept seeing, basically I've got one guy that takes care of that, and he makes sure to go through those boxes and pull anything out that's still usable. Or, I've had times where there's 10 foot of copper, brand new copper, just thrown in the box. And I know it wasn't for it to ultimately wind up in the dumpster, but threw it in the box before they hauled that last box out of the basement, to finish their day. Some of that shit was being thrown away. So in conclusion, this is just about how you can optimize your business to get a bigger return for your investment. Your investments, as you know, is time, energy, and money. So optimize. Another thing that I'll tell you that a guy that has helped me a lot through my business told me is to monetize everything. I mean, monetize everything. And we've discussed this a little bit, Gil, where think about how much it costs to send somebody who's making $25 an hour or $30 an hour to the supply house for a part. For instance, we were doing weekly meetings. And when I started adding that shit up, every week we're spending like $600 a week just to have the guys in here for an hour to an hour and a half to do a weekly meeting. So, and what we found was they weren't always productive meetings. So we cut that down to 1 week or every other week we had a meeting. And now the meetings are more productive. Everybody pays more attention, and, you know, it saves the company a lot of money as well. So optimize everything, minimize waste. I know that was kind of long. Sorry, man.
No, you're good, man. Dude, everything you said was fucking spot on, man. It really was. And to be honest, that's a lot of things that we've already talked about, guys. I mean, and it was all just put into one thing where me and Kelly have, like, we've preached in and beat into you guys about a process for everything. And that's pretty much what Kelly's saying and defining right there, that when you put these processes in place, no matter what they may be, I mean, yeah, a process for doing a service call, a process for doing a install, a process for taking a phone call, a sales process, etc. Those processes, and by following them, it's going to make you to be able to operate and optimize what you're doing, because, when you're sticking to that process, it's easier to kind of follow the dotted line, follow the yellow brick road, so to speak, and not veer off. And as far as what Kelly's talking about, I'm so glad you brought that up. Warranty parts. Thank God our office manager, she's like a fucking hawk. She don't play around with that. So we are good. I mean, you come in and you turn in tickets and she goes, "Oh, where's that capacitor in that motor from the Wilson job from yesterday? Put them on my desk." You know what I mean? So she's awesome with that stuff. But you're right. That stuff gets thrown away and you forget about it. Or like you said, you're cleaning up a job. It's a couple, copper fittings. Oh, throw them in there. A couple, like he said, 6-inch 90s. And it's not your money, so you don't think about it. But that kind of shit adds up, guys. I mean, obviously, business owners are looking at that because that's out of the bottom line. And Kelly's right. And that's a great piece of advice, is monetize everything. Because when you're running a business, that's what it has to be. The fucking toilet paper in the bathroom, I can tell you how much it costs, because everything has to have a dollar sign next to it when you're running a business, because the bottom line is how much profit are you making? That affects everybody. And even the guys, the techs who really don't need to know what that bottom line is, but you need to know what your bottom line is, how much money you're bringing home. Wouldn't it be nice if, hey, you got a bonus? Hey, that little kind of stuff happens when the company's in the green.
Yes.
And yeah, everybody's not throwing away $150 a job, and that shit adds up to $15,000 a year of wasted money. I mean, little things like that, guys. I used to always tell my wife when we were dating, I used to always say, the little things make the big things happen. And I know it might sound like a corny saying, but it's true. Those little things lead to bigger things. Just as like it can be negative by throwing things away and you're losing money, you save those things, put them back on your truck, can lead to a good big thing. Like I said, like getting a bonus or a pay raise or something like that. So just think about it like that. But that was a good topic, Kel.
Thanks. Well, what you just said, that is so true. And I cannot stress the importance of mindset enough. I know, not trying to beat a dead horse, but the bottom line is what you think about, you're going to bring about. So if you want that raise, then you got to think about these little things. Any little thing that you can save the company from wasting, do it. And I promise you, you do the right things, it's going to come back to you.
Yeah, definitely. And as a manager or owner, you're going to notice different guys, okay? Because like one thing Kelly brought is, guys going to supply houses. As a manager or business owner, if a guy never stepped foot in a supply house, it would be fucking phenomenal. We know that that's not realistic. Sometimes it has to happen, but ideally, you want your guys to be in a supply house as minimal as possible, just because it's downtime. Downtime means you're not making money, okay? A guy at the supply house, whether it's 15 minutes a day, okay, like we were just talking about those, add that up over a year. How much money that guy's getting paid to do fucking nothing. Okay, that kind of shit adds up that you don't want. I know a lot of people have GPS and stuff like that. Like all our trucks have GPS, and little things you can just tell by a guy's tickets, how they do things, how many times they have to restock their truck compared to what they're actually, when you look at the tickets to see the calls they're doing, the parts they're using versus what they're buying, which is things that I look at. Okay, he did this call and needed this, and this, but he bought this, and this. So why is he buying this and none of his calls, he didn't use any of this? You know what I mean? So they see that kind of stuff. So don't think that your owner or your boss or somebody's not checking up on that kind of stuff, because they are. And if they're not, then I don't know, your business might not be around for a long time.
No, it's got to be, what is that saying? What gets measured gets managed. What gets measured gets managed, or something like that. So that's very true. You got to manage it. So, but optimize everything. Make it what is the best and highest use of the resource that's right in front of you. How can you make it better?
You put hair around it so you can find it. Or you roll it in flour and hit for the right spot. I'm sorry. Dirty mind. But all right, good topic, Kel. Real fast before we get into mine, I want to give another little shout out, guys. You guys have heard me talk about these guys quite a bit. They become very good friends of mine, and that is the heat exchanger experts. Guys, they are on tour right now. I'm going to go over some dates of where they are. But guys, if you have the opportunity to take this class, fucking take it. I promise you that when you leave that class, that you're going to call me, you're going to hit me up, you're going to say, Gil, that class was fucking amazing. I am actually getting ready to log in, that I'm going to go. I've been talking to Russell, one of the brothers who does the class, this Monday. I didn't know he was actually coming that soon. He's going to get me in the class. It is awesome. Guys, we're getting ready to get into the fall season. We're going to be doing our furnace PMs, all the heating stuff, heat exchangers. That's a big money maker coming in the wintertime, guys. So this class is the perfect time to take it. Right now, guys, go on their website, heatexchangerexperts.com. Right now, they are in the Eastern PA area. They have some that are like closed classes just for businesses, and then they have open classes. So right now, you can go in here and check out their schedule. I know they're in Eastern PA, then they're coming to Maryland by me, and then they're going to they're going to be in, I can't even say it, Voorhees Township, New Jersey, Airmont, New Jersey, Greenville, South Carolina. So they do a tour all over the place, guys. Check it out. Find a class that's close to you. Book it. If you have a big company and you want them to come do just your company, you can request that. Call them. I promise you, if you take this class, that you will love it. So I will leave that at that. So www.heatexchangerexperts.com. If you talk to them, tell them that Gil and Kelley from the HVAC Uncensored podcast sent you. Russell will like that. But alrighty, let me start running my mouth. I don't want to be long-winded like Kelley is.
Sorry, I didn't even see your name. I had my head down in my notes, so I wasn't looking at the screen, and you're like...
No, you're good.
But hey, I just want to say too, is that those classes, like, I'm telling you, no matter what the expense to go to that class, it will be one of the best classes as a service expert that you'll ever go to. And it will pay for itself 10 times over in the first season.
Amen. Without a doubt.
Yep.
You leave there and you opened your eyes to a whole nother level. I mean, guys look forward to the summertime, making sales, selling systems. Guys, sometimes I can sell even more. Well, I won't say more than the summer, but I can get a lot of system sales in the wintertime, because it's amazing how many systems out there have cracked heat exchangers and you just didn't know. And then once you find out where to look, you're like, oh shit. And you're not being dishonest. You're doing your job correctly, and it's shit that you were doing wrong. I mean, I thought the same thing. And then when you start learning, oh, this is a carrier furnace. Oh, well, I remember the class where they said, look at this spot for these, and you go in and you go, oh, fuck, look, it's cracked right where they said it would be. And that's exactly how it is. I promise you. They're going to tell you exactly where to check on every make and model of fucking furnace out there. They'll give you a book with pictures. If you're fucking retarded, go look at the book. I mean, I'm telling you guys, it's awesome. As a business owner, I promise you that your techs will bring in more revenue after taking that class than before. I'll bet you money on it. I promise you. I saw it.
And that, yeah. I was just going to say they're going to keep your customers a lot safer too. Having this information.
Yeah. People are, I mean, that's a big thing, man. How many times everywhere do you see on the news? Oh, so-and-so died, like, well, I'll say during like a snowstorm. Oh, so-and-so died because of a CO poisoning, blah, 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 and fuck, this is a good story and I don't want to go too long, but I want to say this. One thing that got me, and I've said before, while I wear a personal CO safety detector, when I first left my father and actually started working for other companies, I did a call in Baltimore City. It was an inner city family. It was a black family. It was a mom, a dad, and there's probably like 8 children. Well, I found, and I'm talking, it was like one of our coldest winters. It was butt cold. I'm talking like in the single digits, snow on the ground, fucking freezing. And they had cracked heat exchanger, no heat. This thing was bad. They didn't have the money.
It was butt cold.
Yes. Butt cold.
Yes.
My ass is kind of warm, but I know what you mean. But yeah, it was really, really cold. I felt horrible, but I had to shut this thing off. Just by the way the dad was talking, I knew he was going to turn it back on. I just kept telling him, I said, sir, I know it's cold. I was willing to help him get heaters. I said, sir, I really don't recommend you do that. So the last thing that I could do is, I know he didn't have any money. Only thing I had on my truck was one of like the expensive CO detectors. I think that, I forget what we charged for him, but I knew he didn't have the money. So I just fucking gave it to him. I said, just take it. If this thing goes off, then, I said, at least be safe. Guess what happened, man? That night, he turned the furnace back on. His 8-year-old son fucking died that night.
Oh my God.
And I had to go back the next day and talk to the fire marshal. Dude, I was crushed. I cried like a fucking baby. And the fire marshal was like, he said, buddy, this is not your fault. He said, the only reason I'm talking to you is I just want to know what happened, because he saw a copy of my invoice where it said that I shut it off, turned the gas off, turned the power off, but then I start thinking to myself, like, well, fuck, should I have done more? Should I have, rigged it up so he couldn't turn it back on? All kind of stuff went through my head. And then the box was sitting on the kitchen counter of the CO detector that I gave him. And you know how they have that little plastic film over it when it's brand new? He never even took it out of the box.
Yeah.
And that just fucking killed me. And I want to, obviously I'm not going to, because the man just lost his son, but I want to be like, you didn't even fucking, all you had to do was plug the fucking thing in. Like,
yeah.
And then it starts making me mad at myself. I'm like, well, Gil, fuck, maybe I should have plugged it in. Maybe I should have did it. I shouldn't have left it on him. Why didn't I just plug it in? And that killed me for a long time. So now, guys, I know it sucks, and I don't mean to go on too long, but I know it sucks when you're at somebody's house or they can't afford it, or they have children, you're leaving them without heat. I know it sucks. I know you feel like you're doing the right thing by telling them, okay, you'll probably be okay. Go ahead and run it. No, you're not. Okay. Do all cracks, will they leak CO? No, they won't, but it doesn't matter. That is not the way the manufacturer designed it to operate. So you shut it down, and you don't have to go crazy. You red tag it. You turn the gas off, go into the unit, turn the power off, and you fucking document in your ticket. You can't run it. What you found, blah, blah, blah. If they turn it on, then there's nothing we can do about that. That's on them. But you do not run that, guys, because something like that can happen. And trust me, this has been fucking 14 years ago, 12, 13, 14 years ago, something like that. And that shit still fucking haunts me, dude. I promise you. And I will never, ever make that fucking mistake again. And I don't want anybody to have to learn that way, because it fucking sucks. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. And even if it's just a small crack, I just want to add, if it's a small crack, and you're like, just like Gil just said, it might not be leaking CO. Here's the thing is, it's already, the integrity has already been breached. And overnight, that could turn into a big crack. So it doesn't matter how big the hole is. Don't leave it running. It's your responsibility to shut the thing off. So that's that. I'm sorry to hear that, man. That's horrible. That's a horrible story. But
Yeah.
that's a good story to get the point across of just how serious this shit is.
Yeah, man, it fucking sucks. And like Kelly just said, it's a little crack, and some guys are like, oh, it's negative pressure, it's not going to leak. You don't know. It's that what if, and we don't know if it's going to leak. You don't know what's going to happen, and why play with someone's life over something? I'd rather that customer be pissed off and cold one night than not here anymore. I mean, it's just, it's not worth fucking playing with, guys. I promise you, it's not worth. Not to mention, I don't mean to keep going on, but in those situations, I mean, me and Kelly have always said about making sure you're thorough in your tickets, your invoices, but even with that, because say you don't document that you shut the furnace off, blah, 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 those people run that furnace, even though you told them but didn't document it, and those people die. I've heard of people getting like manslaughter. Well, not like whatever the lessest charge is. I've gotten charged with these crimes for that.
Sure.
So that's another thing you got to be careful, man. I mean, you can get the law involved, and Johnny Law comes in. That sucks. You think you're doing somebody a favor and you're going to jail for it.
Yeah, I hate to keep going on this too, but here's another thing is that when most of us, and if you're not, you need to go buy yourself some space heaters so you can get somebody through the night until you can, replace the unit as quickly as possible. But when you loan out a space heater, you should have a little form for the customer to sign saying that they read the instructions on the tag on the space heater and that they understand the danger that could possibly happen with a space heater, because we've, that's always a possibility too. And we just have to cover our tails and make sure that we don't get sued because somebody does something stupid or one of them just flat out fucking malfunctions. And the dog tips it over, the cat tips it over in the middle of the night, and the son of a bitch doesn't shut off and it burns the house down. We've got to make sure that they understand that just how dangerous that can be and get that signed documentation. And anytime you get to one that is cracked, make sure after you document everything that you shut it off and that it's not safe to operate, make sure that you get the customer's signature. Unless they refuse to. We have had people refuse to, then document that. Say customer refused to sign ticket. Document everything. Yep.
That's what the heat exchanger experts will tell you. They said it's rare scenarios, but if the customer will not sign the invoice, to call the fire department. And I know it sounds drastic, but do it. And you might not have to do it much, but if that ever happens and the customer will not sign the ticket, call the fire department. I mean, tell them it's a non-emergency. They'll send somebody out. They will sign your ticket to cover your ass. So trust me, take this class, guys. It'll broaden your horizons to a whole different level. And you're going to be like, oh my God, that makes sense. Like, why didn't I know this? Blah, blah, blah. So it is awesome. But about what you just said, we give heaters, but that's an awesome idea, dude. I'd never thought about getting them to sign something. We do buy the little electric ones that have little, if they tip over, they turn off.
They're supposed to. They're supposed to, right?
Yeah, true, supposed to. But that's a good idea, dude. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make a form up that they have to sign. That's a fucking great idea.
I'll share mine. I'll share mine with you. It's simple. It's already made. You can just go in and just put your name on it. And, it's just to cover your tail because, it always has, how those space heaters always have the little plastic tag that's wrapped around the cord that says, don't plug it into an extension cord, set it on a solid surface. Don't, put it near anything flammable, all this shit. People, it's kind of when you give it to somebody and leave it at their house, there's no telling what they're going to do with it. So it's just a way to cover the company's ass to make sure that they don't get sued for something stupid. But yeah.
Yep, Kelly, for that, you're going to get a
woo-hoo! Woo!
Yeah. Woohoo, Kelly. Yeah. Fucking awesome. All right, we're done with that. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. It's not stopping. Shut up. Okay. Alrighty, I guess now we will finally go into...
Now time to Say What with Gil Kelley.
All right, people, we're going to keep this short and sweet. You know, I got to cut my segment down because Kelly never shuts the fuck up.
Yeah.
So, but no. One topic that, and I know this is going to be controversial, but hey, look, look who's talking. That's what I do. But I guess what I want to say is, and I've had this conversation, and I had this conversation with somebody today, a friend of mine who's in the trade, and we just got to talking about it. So I don't mean any offense to anybody when I say this. I really don't. But I guess it's what we need to know to do our job, and some things that it's good to know, but we don't need to know. I mean, do you know where I'm going with this, Cal?
It's good to know, but we don't need to know. Yeah.
Like, okay, for example, there's a lot of things, like let's just say a compressor, for instance. Obviously, you need to know the function, what it does, why it does what it does, that it compresses a low pressure vapor to a high pressure vapor. You need to know about the thermal overload. You need to know when it's electrically bad, it's grounded, it's mechanically bad. But do you need to know what every single piece inside of that compressor is doing at every certain moment? I mean, do you need to know that this part inside is called this, and this part is called that, and this part is called this? Probably not. I mean, is it good to know? Yeah, it's good to know. I mean, like a capacitor. Do you need to know what kind of oil's in the capacitor? Which it's castor oil, but do you need to know that? No, you don't need to know that. You need to know if I put my things on, it's supposed to be 45 microfarad and it's not 45 microfarad, or plus or minus the percentage, that it's bad. So I guess what I'm getting at is, obviously, first and foremost, I'll say this: knowledge is power. So the more you know, the better you are. That's with anything in life and in our trade. So, I mean, there's some guys that I have friends that, on YouTube and Facebook, that there's some fucking smart guys. They're way smarter than me. I mean, these guys know the ins and outs of every little thing possible, and that's great. But I can honestly say that I don't think some of that knowledge is necessarily needed to be able to be a good technician. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of examples. I mean, do you kind of understand what I'm trying to say, though, Cal?
Man, I 100%. I don't need to know what the compression ratio of this unit is. I don't need to know. It's shit that's not going to help you diagnose it any faster. Or that's great that you know that, great. But man, for me, I'll tell you what, for me, I have to keep some free space in my mind for the shit that matters, because to me, that shit doesn't matter. So I know that may offend somebody like Gil said, but fuck it.
Yeah, well, I mean, plus this is our opinion, guys. We're just a couple of guys with microphones. We're I mean, it's our. So if that offends you, then suck it up, Buttercup. Go fucking wipe your vajayjay, because I don't give a fuck. But it's the truth, though, and like I said, knowing those things is good. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. Any kind of schooling or bettering yourself is always a positive thing. Me and Kelly have said that 100 times since we've been podcasting. It's just, I do think that some knowledge is unnecessary, that you don't have to have it to be a good tech. Like, I know some really, really good techs that I can send them on any call and they'll figure it out. But if you ask them one of those, the compression ratio, or, hey, what's all the pieces inside of a TXV called? I don't know. I know when it's good. I know when it's bad and it's not doing what it's supposed to do, or, or something like that. And I just feel like, I don't know. There's some guys out there, I feel like they throw all these terms out to make themselves feel smart. And
hey, they may be smart, and they may be a lot smarter than you and I, but the bottom line is you don't have to know that shit, period. And it's not that I'm the same way. I'm not downplaying somebody else's knowledge. That's great that you know that. Like I said, my little pea brain's only so big, and I don't wish to fill it with nonsense. So
yeah, well, and it's just like, and maybe in some aspects of our trade, when you're in some of the big, like, industrial commercial stuff, or like you're designing equipment, yeah, you're probably going to need to know that kind of ratio. I mean, that kind of stuff. I mean, but maybe in the residential market, which is what me and you are predominantly doing.
Yeah,
I just think some of that stuff is like, it's unnecessary. Yeah, so me and the guy just got to talking about it, and we had heard this other guy start to talk about things, and we're just like, I mean, like 410, the chemical makeup of the refrigerant.
Right.
I don't give a fuck. I look on the side of the label and it says this one takes 410, and I know how to charge 410.
That's the pink one.
Yeah, exactly. It's the pink bottle.
Yeah.
I need to know how much I got to put in. I need to weigh it in, how much I charge for what I put in, and I don't need to know that it's this refrigerant, that refrigerant, 30. It's a 35 to 65% mixture, or that's actually too much. 50. Yeah, I'm no math major, but
it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. So
yeah, so that's why, like, and I guess, and like I say this, I mean, I've met some smart dudes, man. Like, not to like name drop, but like one guy, Ulysses, I say his name wrong, Ulysses Pashos, I think his name is. Like, dude, that guy's a smart motherfucker, dude. Like I watched him like take compressors apart, and he knows all the insides. I mean, sometimes I've made comments and he's been like, "Hey, Gil, that's it's actually this." And I'm like, "Fuck." And I'll look it up, and his fucking answer is like,
spot on.
yeah, I'm like, fuck, dude. I mean, so there's guys like him that they're fucking knowledgeable guys, and that is good. That's what I'm trying to get at. I'm not saying that it's not good to have that stuff. I'm just saying, is it necessary to be able to be a good tech and do your job? And in my opinion, I'm just saying no. That's, like I said, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. That's why, it either takes a lot of studying or a lot of class time to know that in and out stuff, or you just could have a photographic memory and you just remember this shit. I mean, some people are truly amazing when it comes to just how much knowledge they're able to pack into their skull. But it's just one of those things where I didn't go to school to do this. I just learned on the job. So it's like the bare bones, like this is what you need to know to diagnose something. So that's how my HVAC service ready program is. It's like this is going to get you to be able to diagnose stuff. I'm not going to talk about the inner workings of a compressor because to be quite honest, I just don't know, because it's not something I ever had to learn to get me good at my job. So, but yeah, I didn't mean to like poke fun and be a total dick about it, but I'm just saying from my standpoint, like my particular brain is not big enough to handle, like I need to learn other things. I don't need to know the inner workings of the compressor, me personally. But some of you, when you're like minded, like engineer minded, you want to know the ins and outs of every single piece. And that's great. And you can learn it. But we all know that you don't have to know that to diagnose most things. So
yeah. And to be honest, I guess that brings up to guys, especially guys learning out, that know the basics like the back of your hand. Okay.
Yes.
Know the basics inside and out before you try to gain more knowledge. And I feel like some of these guys, they listen to some different podcasts and videos and stuff like that, and they hear guys talking about things, and they're like, man, well, I want to be like that guy, or I want to know this. And they start trying to get ahead of themselves, and then that's how guys get in trouble, because they know just enough to be dangerous. Guys, to all you new guys starting out, learn the fucking basics to the point where you can, you know them in your fucking sleep. If somebody asks you, fuck, I mean, I know the refrigeration cycle. You don't need to look at a piece of paper. Somebody asks you a question, you're like, bam, 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 bam. I know what subcooling is. I know what superheat is. I know, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, etc. Like, what these things mean. And then, like we said, you can always excel. I mean, hey, I have some knowledge that I don't think I necessarily need to do my job, that I've learned over the years, that I've just, to be honest, I've learned from failures, or I've learned from classes where things got, thrown in. I remember little tidbits, and I've learned from different podcasts and YouTube videos. I mean, I'm always trying to learn too. So like I said, it's not bad to know. I just don't know if it's necessarily needed to perform your job. So I guess I'll end on that. I do, like I said, any and all schooling is good. So, and hey, maybe I wish I was as smart as some of those guys.
Sure.
Maybe I'm
You're
envious.
just fucking jealous,
I'm
Gil.
envious.
You're fucking jealous. Just shut the
I
fuck
am.
up.
I'm so Joe. Like, oh my god! Like I wish I was that fucking smart. Damn it.
But here's something that I'll just add to that, which is if it's when it comes to I posted the other day on my Facebook page, the HVAC Service Ready Facebook page, and it was a quote that I saw that said, "Time and money are interchangeable. You can either spend it or invest it." So that just makes so much sense to me because if it makes sense, so ask yourself this question when it comes to learning that type of stuff. Is this going to get me ultimately what I want? So maybe that's you just thirst for knowledge and you need to know that. If that's going to make you happy, then do it. But if you're after more time off because you're a super tech, I can tell you that that's probably not going to get you there. What's going to get you there is learning sales. Being better with having, providing a better customer experience every time you visit a customer. Whatever the case, think about it that way. If you're going to spend the time to learn that, is it going to pay you back? What's your return on investment? With anything, I ask myself that question a lot, which is, what will this get me what I want? And I make sure that it's in line and I'm congruent with doing the different tasks and learning the different stuff that's actually going to get me what I want. Always ask yourself that question.
No, and that makes perfect sense. I mean, perfect sense. But guys, before we close this out, one thing that I want to talk about, and I want to make sure that I say this. It's something I've always thought about. Is me and Kelly want to start like it's a mentorship program. I have thought about something similar. I do know that Refrigeration and HVAC Brotherhood of America, that group, they have came out with something as well. So I don't want to take any credit from those guys. They put it up and it's fucking genius. So I give all the credit to those guys. They said something and came out with it first, and it's awesome idea. I'm in the process of trying to talk to those guys. I talked to one of their admins. I'm going to talk to another one. Maybe we can do something together. If not, we'll do it separate. I just want to make sure I give credit where credit is due because they did come out with it with their Facebook group. If you haven't checked out their Facebook group, please do so. It's Refrigeration and HVAC Brotherhood of America. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But I guess in my thought process, I almost want to make it like a big brother, little brother, kind of like an NA kind of thing, AA kind of situation where these guys, if you're in the trade and you have knowledge to pass down, some of these guys that are newer, that you guys can email us HVAC uncensored at gmail.com and give us your information and say whether you want to be a mentor or if you need mentoring, just let us know and we'll just pair you up with guys. We'll give each other phone numbers and you'll contact. And hey, if you have an issue, you can call that guy. So anybody who's interested in that, let us know. I just think that'd be really, really awesome. I have a lot of different guys that I talk to, and sometimes it's hard. I mean, it gets a little overwhelming because I'll answer everyone. Anybody who's ever reached out to me knows that I always get back to them. So, and I still will. I don't care. So all the guys that hit me up, keep going. I will make time to get back to you. But this way, it can be a one-on-one thing, and we can start to pass that knowledge on to the younger generation. I just think that's an awesome idea. And kudos to the guys in the Refrigeration and HVAC Brotherhood of America for doing that, because it's a fucking awesome idea, and I think it is absolutely great for our trade. It really is.
Absolutely. Sorry.
You gonna fucking say something?
Are we signing off, or is that what we're doing? Or
yeah, yeah.
So first, I saw that Mr. Michael Lee in the Facebook group posted he had, stage 3A is changed to stage 4, which anytime we say stage anything like that, it's never a good thing. And I've had lots of people in my family that have had the big C word. I actually have a cousin right now that just found out she's had some lung cancer and it's moved to her brain. And so she's going in for 10 days straight of radiation tonight. So my thoughts and love is going out to her. And, but Mr. Lee has always been very supportive of me. I feel, somewhat connected with him just because he's always positive. He always posts nice things on my YouTube channel and stuff, and I just greatly appreciate all the support that he's given me, and so I absolutely support him in his fight here. And I know a lot of you guys, we've all been touched by somebody who's went through this. There's not a single person that it hasn't affected. Pretty much, everywhere. So, stay strong. You got this, man. And we're all supporting you. So, but other than that, I just want to thank everybody for listening. We have a lot of fun, and I can't wait to start bringing on some guests. That's going to be a lot of fun too. It'll be a learning experience. I know I'll learn more, and anything that helps me learn more from others, I'm up for. So thanks so much for listening, guys. Get out there and go make money.
Yeah, Kelly, I'm so glad that you brought up that about Mr. Lee, because I actually wanted to say something. You guys know that I lost my father to cancer, and you guys know my dealings. Mr. Lee is an awesome, awesome man. He really is. And I know there's been some Facebook stuff where people have had issues with him, but Mr. Lee has always supported me since day one. I mean, the first day that I created my YouTube channel, the first day that I started to go on a podcast, Mr. Lee has always supported me. He's been nothing but positive. And Mr. Lee, I appreciate you, sir, from the bottom of my heart. I thank you. I will pray for you. I wish you the best. I know that you're an old salty dog. You're an old fighter, and that it's going to take that shit a lot to beat you. So you just keep fighting. Know that our thoughts and prayers are with you. And if there's anything that, I, myself, or we can do to help, that you please reach out to me. And once again, I thank you for everything, sir. Moving forward, as always, every podcast, I always want to say, check out my little bro Isaiah's channel, HVAC with ZSA. He just does admirable things over there. It's just very inspiring what he does on that channel. So the other thing, guys, is you might have seen that we have a Teespring account up now, different shirts. I'm going to be changing it around to an actual storefront, so we'll have more products. A lot of guys have asked for merchandise, so we have it out there. This first one we're doing, just so everybody knows that me and Kelly are going to have it, that a portion of the proceeds made by all these items are going to go to a charity. So this first one, we're going to do at minimum, at least 25% of the profits earned are going to go to Hurricane Florence relief. So we will find a legitimate, I have a couple
charity,
legitimate, charity to be able to give it to, so there's no bullshit.
No.
It's not we're not asking you to GoFundMe. So you're going to get a product, and we're going to take a portion of that money, and we're going to give it to a charity, and then we're going to do that from so forth. But guys, these shirts right now, they're only out for a short time, so you can order these shirts until October 9th. After that, it's going to go away for a little bit, and then we'll bring shirts back up with a different design. So each design is going to come up one time. If you like it, go ahead and grab it, because that shirt's probably not going to come back up. And me and Kelly are going to keep having new designs popping up, and that's the way it's going to work. So everybody who wants to get one, another thing, so you know that anyone who purchases an item through it's going to have to be like a shirt, an actual clothing item, not just a sticker. But I know there's shirts, sweatshirts, long sleeve t-shirts, and stickers. If you purchase one of the clothing items and you are registered on our email list, me and Kelly are going to have giveaways. We're going to have other giveaways, but these are going to be big giveaways. I mean, like, they're going to be big giveaways, like prizes that you're not going to want to miss. So once we get some merchandise sold and these people are on the email list, we will pick a prize, and trust me, it's going to be something that you're not going to want to miss. Okay. So I won't get too long-winded here. As always, guys, you can check us out on all the major podcast apps. We're on iTunes, Google Play. We're on the Stitcher app, soon to be SoundCloud and Spotify. You can always reach out to me and Kelly at HVAC Uncensored at gmail.com. We answer all the emails. And we thank you guys so much, man. You guys have been awesome. This podcast has taken off. It really, really has. You guys are fucking awesome. We have some of the best fans and listeners out there. You guys are fucking amazing. You rock. Couple fucking assholes, but the most of you are good. So thank you guys so much, man. Another great episode. As always, be safe, be careful. You always want to make it home the same way you left. And always remember to do what the next guy's not doing. Set yourself apart. Until the next one, peace, motherfucker.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.